Hey friends, today I am making pants, but not just any pants. I want to make the most gingham pants in the whole world. And what I mean by that is, I'm going to rifle through all of my scrap fabric, finding every single piece of fabric that has any sort of check, grid, or gingham print on it. I'm gonna put all of my checkered fabrics in a big mixing bowl, and I would like to patchwork them all together to make this crazy, chaotic, extremely gingham-y pair of pants. It does feel wrong to call them gingham pants when there will be a few different kinds of checks and grids in the pants, but I think to make it easier, I'm just gonna call them gingham patchwork pants. And you guys know what I mean. To be honest, I have had some creative burnout after creating my wedding dress because it was just such a big and mentally taxing project. So I don't feel like self-drafting right now, and I'm gonna just enjoy using other people's patterns and use them as a canvas to explore different kinds of fabrication and patchworking techniques. So today I'm gonna be working on a pattern that I've had my eye on for quite some time, and it is the Arthur pants by Sew Liberated. This is a balloon-shaped trouser with the option of a fully elasticated waistband or a zipper front and elasticated back. And I'm going to do the zipper or the fly front and the elasticated back view because that sounds cool to me. I think that's all you need to know. I mean, all you need to know for the project concept. I'm still gonna talk for the rest of this video. Now, although I do have a lot of different checkered and gingham fabrics in my fabric stash, especially in my scrap stash, I wasn't exactly confident of what colors I had or if I would have enough to make these pants. So I just went to Spotlight and I bought probably about 15 different kinds of fabrics and just 20 centimeters of each, just to give me more colors and variety to play with. I've washed them, now they need to dry. Oh, that's what happens when you wash 15 different strips of 20 centimeter fabric. Cool. Maybe I should hang them out. You don't have to pre-wash your fabric, but you should. Pre-washing your fabric is just good sewing etiquette, just in case it shrinks at all in its wash. It's better if it shrinks now before it's been made into a garment. Luckily, I've never suffered the consequences of that mistake, but I know some people who have, and I think it's pretty sad, so they're washed. All right, the fabrics are all laid out and ready to dry, and while they are drying, let me proudly introduce the sponsor of today's video, which is Skillshare. Since making my own wedding dress a few months ago, I've been feeling pretty sluggish and uninspired with my creative projects, probably as a result of some mild burnout. So recently I've been wanting to kickstart my creativity again, and to do that, I've been taking a wonderful class on Skillshare called Goal Getter Mini, Gain Clarity, Confidence, and Momentum in Your Creative Career by Bonnie Christine. Now, this class packs a punch. Bonnie talks about how to move past fear and comparison as a creative entrepreneur, how to use micro progress as a way to work towards your goals, and how to stay focused and build momentum as a creative. I learned a lot from Bonnie's class, and I'm really excited to try her advice of scheduling focused work sessions with planned rewards for after I've completed the work. And I'm hoping that this helps me work with more gusto and increased productivity. Anyway, this class is just one of thousands of creative classes available on Skillshare, which is the largest online learning community for creatives, with classes covering a wide variety of creative topics. There are classes for everyone with skill levels ranging from beginner to advanced, and categories include illustration, film, photography, graphic design, animation, entrepreneurship, and so much more. I've been taking classes on Skillshare for over a year now, and I can say with certainty that learning with Skillshare definitely helps fuel continuous growth as an artist, because there are so many different topics and skills that you can explore and learn over time. Though I'm often taking classes on Skillshare about sewing and craft, other categories that interest me are classes about guitar playing, gouache painting, woodworking, and cinematography. There's just so much to learn. It's very exciting. Anyway, if this interests you and you would like to check out Skillshare, I highly recommend it, and I have an amazing deal for you. The first 500 people to click the link in the description box of this video will receive 1 month free of Skillshare. So jump on it, click the link if you're interested, and I hope you enjoy Skillshare as much as I do. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to those crazy gingham pants. I got a little bit distracted when I went shopping at Spotlight, and I found these shoelaces. And I got them because I fell in love with this lacing technique that I saw on a pair of shoes by Story MFG and Asics, and I really want to try it on my own shoes. I only have one pair of lace-ups, and these are my running shoes and my hiking shoes and my everything shoes, so maybe this cutie lacing won't really suffice, but whatever. Let me show you, it's really cool. It's like a little weaving technique and you can have 2 bows at the top. It's, like I said, not my technique. I learned it from Story MFG, which is one of my favorite brands. Kind of fun. I definitely think this would look better if you had grommets in your shoes rather than tabs, because then you could have a little bit of backstage area for this lacing technique to occur, but it's okay. From what I gather, you need the lacing to not be crisscross, you need it to be bars. So this is how you do the bars, apparently. I watched a YouTube tutorial. Wait a second. No, this is right. And this goes under everything. Okay. That's the setup. Then you get your secondary lace. So I'm gonna use a green one, and you weave it. So it goes over, under, over, that kind of thing. And you just keep doing that. Over, under. Okay, I think I did 5 rounds of this on my other shoe. Great. Well, maybe I did 6, okay. Cute! You see what I mean? And then these ones are decorative, and you can just create a little bow. And then these ones are your tightening laces. And you can create another bow. Aww. There they are. I think they look about 100 times cooler with the Asics, but that's okay. Well, that was really silly and fun, and I love the end result. How cute. One day, I dream I will get my hands on those gingham Story MFG Asics. And if not, maybe the Asics in collaboration with Cecile Bonson, also very cool shoes. Enough shoe talk. Let's start patchworking, why don't we? The first step is going through all the scraps and finding everything that has a check on it. A checkered pattern, I should say. Well, almost everything. Some of these are kind of ugly. I'm editing as I go. Okay, all of my washed fabrics are now dry, so I can start my patchworking. I think I'm gonna patchwork off camera today because I use this technique a lot, but if you're interested in more information about patchworking, I have a whole video about the technique, so you can watch it, check it out if you're interested. But a quick rundown is that I'm going to cut these pieces of fabric into little rectangular or square pieces, sew them right sides together, overlock the edge, press the edge, and build up my textile piece by piece by piece until it is bigger, just by a smidge, than my pattern piece. And then I can just cut out my pattern from my patchwork textile. It's very simple, it just takes patience and time. So I'm gonna get started on my patchworking, and I'm gonna see you back when I have all of my pattern pieces ready to sew. Okay, my first pant panel is complete. I think I'm just going to patchwork one at a time, because if I think about the whole project, I'm just going to get overwhelmed. So one done, and I'm not gonna think about how many more I have to do. It looks super cute though. Hey friends, the weekend has come and gone, fairy lights have emerged, and I have successfully patchworked the fabric for all 8 panels of this pant pattern. This is the vibe. They are extremely gingham. If I'm being completely honest, this is definitely the point in the process where I'm starting to doubt my vision. They feel really chaotic to me, but we have come this far, so there's nothing left to do but construct. And hopefully when they're all put together, it's a vibe. It could just be crazy, but it is officially time to sew. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, I got new pants. I wanted these pants from Sonderhaus for quite some time, and I finally pulled the trigger. They're kind of awesome. They got like little buttons on the waistband so you can make them adjustable. So good. Oh, and I got 3 of their really chunky hair elastics. I wasn't sure if they were going to be cool, but they're really cool, and now I'm wishing I got a lot more. The postage was so expensive getting it here, so I don't know if I'll ever buy more of these, but is that not, like, awesome? Okay, let's sew. Something to be noted about this pattern in particular is that all of the seam allowances are 5/8 of an inch, which is a really unusual seam allowance. I think in American sewing and Australian sewing, it's 1.6 centimeters. So I'm going to tape that out on my sewing machine, else I will have no idea where to place that. 1 centimeter, I know like the back of my hand. 1/2 inch, I know like the other back of my other hand. And 5/8 of an inch is like a complete stranger. I think there's quite a few flat felled seams, so that might be why. I don't know. 5/8 of an inch. That's 4, 5. Should be roughly like that. All right, should be good. Yeah, perfect. Okay, great. I've not done a flat felled seam in quite some time, so I'm just gonna refresh my knowledge. As far as I know, you sew wrong sides together, and in this case, you use the 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Then, on the right side of the fabric, the seam is visible. You trim one side of that seam allowance, and in this case, that's to 1/4 of an inch. Then you fold over the seam allowance of the other side of your seam allowance. That sounds crazy, but it's real. And then you fold that over your trimmed seam allowance side, and then it encases the seam. I explained that poorly. I think flat felled seams are one of the big construction techniques of these pants, so I'll show you, and then hopefully it makes sense. Wrong sides together, pin side back and center back. This is, okay, how does this work? Yes, that I think is what it will be looking like. Let's just check that that is correct. I don't feel confident with this technique. I don't feel confident with the technique that you gave me. All right, I got this. Awesome. All right, flat fill this seam towards the side back. Where are my scissors? Towards the side back, and the side back is the curved piece, which means I have to trim this to 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, I can do that. And then I think this gets tucked over by 1/4 of an inch. So it should be like this. And now this gets pressed this way, covering the seam allowance. Awesome, okay. So then this gets stitched down right along the edge. Awesome! This is my beautiful flat felled seam. Can you see? It's actually really hard to see stuff like that when you're patchworking because it all just looks like the same, but success. One pant panel complete. Now I just need to repeat that process for the other back pant panel. Both back panels are complete, and now I have to flat fill these together to make one back panel. Just kidding. They actually both need a patch pocket first. My bad. I'll do that first. It's really hard to know if the patch pockets should be patchworked or whether they should just be one fabric, but I think I'm leaning towards one fabric, just keeping it a little bit more simple for this one particular detail. 1/4 of an inch gets folded down at the top. Something like that will get the job done, I think. Okay, folds that 1 inch. And sew the sides where the fabric is folded. I think this is what they're asking. I've just never done this before. Let's just try one first. How about that? Clip the corners. Flip. It's going to flip that right way out. And these should be roughly the same size. 1, 2. I'll be happy with that. And then I'm just going to edge stitch right along here to keep the top hem in place. Perfect. Okay, I think this one suits here. This one suits here. Oh, wrong way around. Awesome. Edge stitch. Gorgeous. Pockets are on, and now I can flat fill the 2 back pieces together. Sensational. I'm pretty sure these look crazy. Oh well, let's keep moving forward. If that ain't the biggest pant, that pant looked like it ate 2 pants for lunch. I'm talking about the leg, like the leg is like, whoa. Guys, I have to do the fly, the zipper fly. I've done zipper flies before. I don't want to, I'm just gonna eat some ice cream instead. This is my favorite flavor of ice cream. Ordinarily, I'm a big advocate for zipper flies not being as difficult as they seem. I think zippers just have a bit of a reputation for being a bit scary when you are progressing through your sewing skills, but more often than not, if instructions are clear, they're very achievable. I think the instructions of this pattern are very, very clear, but to the point where there is just a few too many words on the page and I just don't know. I just don't know if I have the energy. All right, I'm doing the zipper. I'm not really gonna be doing a tutorial here because I don't really know what I'm doing here. I think it might be true that the only zipper I've ever done is in the Anna Allen clothing jeans, the Persephone pants and the Helene jeans. And her instructions are really, really good, but it is really different reading someone else's instructions on how to put a zipper in. Using a zipper foot at 1 centimeter from the edge. Is this what you want? I think so. I'm not even sure. I'm sewing that now to the center front, question mark. I think this is what they wanted. Line up the center front edges left on your body. There has to be this one. Oh, I see. Yes. Sew at 5/8 of an inch. Clip into the seam allowance at the bottom of the fly. What is scant? They're always using this word. Do you know what the word scant means? Barely sufficient or adequate. They keep saying stuff like, clip into the seam allowance at the bottom of the fly. A scant 1/2 inch clip. Okay. Would you like a scant little 1/2 inch clip? I think that I'm so accustomed to sewing the Anna Allen clothing jeans that I just can't comprehend any other fly construction. Halfway through that, I was just gonna get out my Anna Allen clothing pattern and just follow her instructions. I'm so set in my ways, but in saying that, one of my favorite things that I've learned from her patterns is this technique that if you're going to be top stitching this little curved area right where the fly is, it's on all jeans, there's a little bit of top stitching there. If you're top stitching that and you struggle with doing that shape, you can baste it from the wrong side and then you will have the basting stitch as a guide. Let me show you. This is a wonderful example of when hand stitching is so worth the time. So I'm just gonna run this little basting stitch, which is a removable stitch, and it's gonna go all the way along the curved edge of my fly. And this is quite literally something that will take me 60 seconds, but it should make my stitching much neater than if I just guessed. And I'm trying to keep it sitting really nice and neatly in place. And it's really quite hard to see in this light, but the stitch goes all the way around here, and this is going to act as my guide for top stitching this section. Bam. And it's stuff like that that really incentivizes me to make other people's patterns, because I love learning little tricks that just make construction easier as I move forward with other projects. I'm going to persist with this fly. Well, I don't think I followed those instructions very well, but I do think I have a functioning fly. So I am not going to complain about that. I'm just going to take it and run. When I was reading those instructions, my head was like blah, 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 blah. And I was just trying to remember how I did it in the past. You need to trim this. Yeah! Flat felled, more like flat, Okay, yeah! And then you just have to stitch all the way down there. Let me do it. In a world of flat felled seam, no raw edges. When you finish your seam, it's just Elijah and I's new obsession. All right, that's ridiculous. Sometimes flat felling just really gets on my last nerve. Because this, like, are you serious? I'd just much rather do a French seam. Whatever, I'm doing it. And I'm not even complaining. Something that also annoys me is that I've done my best to trim my seam allowance down, but I'm still getting some little edges peeking out, and I just find that really annoying. Like, I can fix it. I'd prefer things be perfect immediately. Yeah. And I feel like French seams are often that for me. I just feel like I have a higher success rate. I'm just over here just starting my diss track on flat felled seams. They look crazy. Gingham, more like gingham, more like what? There's nothing. Patchwork, more like Make it work, designers, make it work.
Make it work. Work, work, work. Make it work.
Tim Gunn. I'm gonna add the pleats in the front of the pants and then I have to do the pockets. I'm just literally complaining this whole time. I'm gonna do the next step and then I'm gonna do the next step. It's fine, I'm gonna do it. Okay, pleats are done. Time to make the front pockets. Apply interfacing to the wrong side of the front pocket along the angled edge. Right sides together, pin the front pocket, and it's just gonna go like that. Sew the angled edge from the waist seam to the side seam. So that's nice and neat, and then you flip the pocket right sides out. Wait, no, then that's it. Yeah, okay, my bad. And then the pocket is like this. Yeah. And then I just need to baste it in place at the top edge and the side seam. The front is done. That is amazing. This means that I can now piece together the front with the back, and all that remains after that is the waistband. So we're really getting to the end of this project. More or less. I'm excited though. I'm excited. Wrong sides together, triple checking. Yep. That's where I want it. Flat fill. Well, I just sped on through closing up the inner leg seam and the side seams, so now they are looking like pants. And I am just going to absolutely smash out this waistband, hopefully. Applying my interface in the laziest way possible. 1, 2, 3, 4. Beautiful. Gorgeous. Along the unnotched edge, which is this edge, we're sewing along here. Zip waistband. This. I don't know if I'm tired or I'm just really bad at comprehending this style of instructions, but I think I just need to fully lock in to do this waistband, because every time I read these paragraphs, my brain is just like, I have no idea. I've never seen a waistband like this before. I'm just gonna see you guys when this is done. Hi, it's the next day. I didn't quite finish the waistband on my pants last night, but I'm actually really glad that I didn't, because I really want to show you how this all came together. I've never done a waistband like this before, where it's fitted at the front and elasticated at the back, but it was not as complicated as I thought. In fact, it was rather amazing. I also tried them on and they are so very comfortable. I think I'm going to be gravitating towards pants in this style moving forward, because it just gives you a little bit of kindness and wiggle room by having this elasticated section. And I am so sick of feeling bad when my weight fluctuates and I put on my favorite pants and they don't fit right and I feel like the problem. When weight fluctuation is just such a normal part of being a woman, I kind of feel like this is awesome. But it still looks good, you know what I mean? Anyway, let me show you how this works. Then I'm gonna finish these for real. Let me show you this waistband, it's kind of cool. You attach it ordinarily, right sides together, and then you flip it over. And this is where you would normally just stitch all the way down on the other side of the fabric, thus completing the waistband. But to do the elasticated waistband, you only stitch the back portion of the waistband. And that means that on the sides here, you have openings. And that means that you created a little tunnel for the elastic to go through, and then you can stitch in the ditch on either side seam to secure the elastic, and then you have a little elastic waistband at the back. It's awesome. Of course, next steps is going to be to stitch down the rest of the waistband, and then it will be more or less complete. I think I have to top stitch along here to keep the elastic from folding, but that's really easy. I'm sorry I couldn't show that to you as I was constructing it, because I was genuinely so baffled and I just needed a moment to figure it out, because it was my first time doing it. But I'm certain that I will do this technique again, so stay tuned if you want a more detailed video diary of the half elasticated waistband. Pretty cool though. All right, let's finish this. Great. The waistband is done, which means it's time for the buttonhole and the button, and do not fear, I will be releasing my hand-stitched button tutorial very, very soon. So if you're interested in that, it's on its way. Check that out. She's beautiful. Woo, beautiful. That buttonhole looks awesome. I don't know what this phenomenon is, but it definitely should be studied, and it is. Every single time I go to do my buttonholes, when I return, my button is nowhere to be found. It's happened to me multiple times, and sometimes I just have to choose new buttons because I have no idea where the old button went. It's ridiculous. Don't ask me how it works. Rest assured I did find my button just now though. It was missing, but it resurfaced. Ah, final step, the hem. Fantastic news. Yay, I'm done. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The craziest pants I've ever seen. I know some of you were sad about this microphone not being on the horse anymore, so let me just fix that.
Do you like being a horse? Yes. Look, I have fancier hair than you. I can tell. Your hair is sensational. Let's film the outro together.
Okay, I made my horsey mic again. Are you happy? Well, 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 the pants are finished. They are extremely gingham, and I like them very much. I'm excited to show them to you, but before I do, some final notes on the pattern. A very cool pattern, very thorough, very well made, great design features. I love that there are different views. You can do an all elasticated waistband or this half-half situation with the fly. I always get excited when a pattern has all of the seams beautifully finished on the inside of the garment. So for example, every single seam in this pant is either a French seamed or a flat felled, which means no overlocked edges, which is beautiful for longevity, but also it means that anyone who doesn't have an overlocker can still create these pants and not worry about frayed edges. So it's incredibly accessible, which I really love. Super wearable pants. I would love to make them again in one block color. I think they're a great closet staple. The accentuated shape of the leg is a really cool design feature, which I think sets these pants apart from maybe a regular pair of jeans. And overall, super cool pattern. My only other thought about these pants is that the instructions were extremely thorough and almost to the point where I would issue a warning to those that don't like reading big chunks of text that are extremely informational. For me personally, I think I'm quite an intuitive learner, so I like to see a picture with a small amount of text and I can just sort of figure out the gist of it from looking at the pictures, and it helps me to sew faster, I think. But if there's big chunks of text, I just have to read everything to make sure I'm doing it right, and makes my brain get a bit weary. I actually think that a lot of text is going to be very helpful for most, so don't be afraid, but maybe if you're a kinesthetic learner like me, you might just need to take a few more breaks in between reading the chunks of text. The other thing that I need to remember is that if I know how to do something, I don't necessarily have to follow the pattern maker's instructions. I could just do it the way that I prefer. But obviously I still like to follow the instructions because the pattern maker worked so hard and I like to do things the way that they intended. So that thought is not really a problem. It's just that I personally struggled. And that's on me. Just being honest. Anyway, it is truly time for me to show you these pants, but before I go, I would love to ask you how your projects are going. Please let me know, what are you working on, whether it be sewing or knitting or crochet or any sort of creative project. I love hearing about every single little detail. And another question that I have for you guys this week is, does anyone have a favorite style of pin? And I'm talking about the little pins you put in your project as you're sewing. I have a bunch of really cheap ones. I don't even know where I got them, but I was thinking today, I would like some nice quality sewing pins. So please leave me your recommendations in the comments because I would really like to see what everyone's pinning with. Thanks. If you're still here, you're amazing. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm sending lots and lots of love. Have an amazing week. And without further ado, check out these extremely gingham pants.
they're kind of ridiculous. Okay, love you, bye. Goodbye, goodbye, good friends, goodbye. It's time for us to go.
Hey!